Hello, lovely girls. How is everyone?
Marvellous.
Just
Very well.
settle myself.
Now, the last time I saw you was last year, wasn't it, on Give a Pet a Home?
Yes.
Did you end up getting a dog?
No, I was going to get... There was a ginger Tom I had my eye on.
That's right. He was after that ginger Tom.
Called Jeffrey, but in the end, because my dog Valerie, who I was just talking about, she's so old now, she has dementia and she's staggering around, so the idea of bringing a cat into her life, I don't think she could cope.
Be too upset.
How do you know your dog's got dementia?
The signs are remarkably similar to human dementia. I mean, she staggers around, she doesn't quite know what's going on.
Does she know she's a dog?
Well, I tell her on a regular basis. Yes. But she's all right, she's quite happy, but she's delicate, you know.
How are you going to cope when she passes on to dog world?
I'm not thinking about that.
No,
I mean,
let's change the subject.
Because you were very, very upset when Fanny went, weren't you? The Wonder Dog.
Yes, Fanny lived to be 19 and Valerie is 16.
That's such a good age.
So I'm not thinking about it yet.
Yeah.
And they are very similar, although it isn't. Valerie isn't Fanny reincarnated, as it turns out. There is distinct lack
But you
of
do
talent.
have loads of other animals, don't you, where you live? Haven't you got a chicken called Maureen?
I've got... The only chicken I've got left is Maureen. The fox has been.
Oh, no.
So now I have one chicken who's 8 years old, who hasn't laid an egg for about...
8 years old?
She's 8 years old. She doesn't lay anymore, but I have to pay someone £20 a day to go and look after her.
You live at the bottom of the
I leave
hill.
the door open sometimes in case the fox wants to come back.
Julian, where you live in Kent, Paul O'Grady lives... You live at the bottom of the hill in Noel Cow's old house, and Paul O'Grady lives at the top in what used to be Vic Reeves' old house.
Yes.
With his menagerie. So there's a whole animal world going on.
I know, it's much quieter down the bottom of the hills. All the shrieking that goes on up there.
Now, you're going to be going on tour soon, aren't you?
I'm going on...
Always touring. You
I
work
know,
really hard,
I quite
Julian.
like getting out the house.
Away from Maureen.
I start on Friday. We're in Glasgow Comedy Festival. The Joy of Mincing is what I'll be.
Is the Glaswegian audience going to be tougher than the audience down south?
Well, Friday night in Glasgow should be a scream, I think. And I like a frisky audience, and I like playing Glasgow because they talk to you a lot and you can have a conversation. They're very witty.
Yeah.
You can understand them. They're very witty.
And it's 30 years you've been in the business this year, isn't it?
30 years, man and boy, yes.
Oh. And you're still working and you're still enjoying what you're doing?
I am, yes.
Well, and of course now, I mean, you're on here today really to talk about your new children's book, aren't you?
Yes.
I mean, who knew that you would write children? Where did this come from?
It's come as such a surprise, because, you know, you spend all your life being as filthy as you think you can get away with. and then after 30 years, someone says, how's about writing a children's book? And I really enjoyed it. And this is the second one, The Bolds to the Rescue, about this family of hyenas living in disguise.
Aren't they living in Teddington, where you grew up?
Yes.
So did you get a lot of inspiration from your next-door neighbours?
Well, the next-door neighbours were very hairy. They're very hirsute, and as a child I used to watch them and I made up this story to myself that they were...
It's beautifully
hyenas.
illustrated, this book.
Very,
And
yes.
I love David Roberts' illustrations. They absolutely... You know, obviously it's very well written, but it works very well with the drawing.
He's a scream, yes. We go on these book tours to entertain children now, and I talk about the Bolds and he draws pictures, and he's a very, very funny man to be with.
I've got to ask you something.
Yes.
We have a friend in common,
Oh,
not
yes.
Paul O'Grady, Joan Collins.
Oh,
Oh, yes. Dame Joan
All right,
to you.
Dame Joan
Yes.
to me. Did you save her life?
Well, this is all in... I'm trying not to talk about it too much because she's getting a little bit fed up with me.
Oh, no, but tell us anyway.
Stringing out this near tragedy into a comedy anecdote. But there was an incident in her infinity pool, and I was the...
That's a narrow swimming pool on the edge of a cliff to people watching who don't know.
with a view over Saint-Tropez. And she was in there, and I was sitting by the pool reading a book, and there was an incident, and I was the only one available to leap in and save her. That's the unexpurgated... No, that's the expurgated version.
Did you do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation afterwards?
I am a renowned
Wouldn't go that-
homosexual. I have to think of my career.
You spent a lot of time in Ibiza, didn't you? Meet your partner there as well?
I did, yes. You know everything, don't you?
Been spying on you.
They wanted to show a picture of him, and I said no.
Oh.
He didn't want to be named and shamed. You've met him, haven't you?
I've met him. He's so gorgeous and lovely.
Well, the public don't need to know that.
No. But listen, earlier
Keep your
on...
legs slightly closer together. Very, very distracting for us, isn't it? We're trying to be interviewed here, and all we can see is your thighs vibrating.
Right, stop it.
Okay.
Now, earlier on we were talking about if you ran your own business or you were the head of a business, would you employ somebody who was potentially saying, well, I am going to have children?
Well, yes, I would, and I was talking about this yesterday, funnily enough. My tour manager, who I've had for 18 years, when I first met her, she'd just given birth. And she was such a safe driver, that's why I liked having... Because I'm quite a nervous passenger. And I have a theory that lactating women are the safest drivers. There's some hormonal urge that creates safe driving. They want to get home. So, and of course, her husband looked after the baby when we were busy.
Yeah.
We had to pull over to the odd lay-by so she could express herself. But I didn't mind that.
Any kids on the horizon for you and your lovely partner?
I don't have a womb.
Right, so the book is out now. It's out on the 3rd of March.
Yes.
And the tour starts on Saturday.
On Friday in Glasgow.
Friday in Glasgow. So if you're in Glasgow, be there, and we shall come and see you wherever you are.
Thank you.
As always, the wonderful Julian Clary.
We get some pretty fabulous guests here on Loose Women. There's plenty more where that came from. Just click here to watch more interviews with a whole range of famous faces. And click here to subscribe. It's free, so you'd be silly not to, really.
And the thing is, I had to have 3 showers before we could even continue recording, because what I didn't realise was that this colour hair, you squirt tomato ketchup on that and it grabs. I had pink hair.